very compassionate, said, "You're so young and you're so handsome. How is it going to be possible for you to maintain your vows of sannyas? If you'd like, I can protect you. I have thousands of sannyas disciples, and I protect them by teaching them Vedanta Sutra. If you like, I can teach you Vedanta Sutra." "Oh, you're so kind. Whatever you can do to protect me, I'm very grateful." So that's what happened. 7 days, 7 nights. Not 7 nights. 7 days straight. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya lectured from Vedanta Sutra. And Lord Chaitanya, the celebrated painting, I don't have a copy of it here. Lord Chaitanya was just looking off into the distance, listening, but not responding, like emotionless. So on the 8th morning, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, "Did you say something? I don't know if you're understanding, not understanding." And Lord Chaitanya, then he spoke finally after the 8th morning. "I understand Vedanta Sutra very well, but your explanations are covering over Vedanta Sutra more and more the more you speak. The real meaning is lost." "Oh, really?" "Well, if you know the real meaning, then you explain it to me." Reasonable. So now it's role reversal. The young sannyasi is speaking to the very elderly super scholar. And in a short while, he, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, gave a synopsis. It's in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the synopsis of Vedanta Sutra. And the synopsis of Vedanta Sutra is Srimad Bhagavatam. Because Srimad Bhagavatam is a commentary on Vedanta Sutra. When Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya heard all this, he was stunned, astonished. I've never heard anything like this. And I can't refute it. It's superb. You're not just a sannyasi. You're the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya smiled and showed his form of... There's Chaitanya Bhagavat that says he showed his 6-armed or Sadbhuja form. Krishna with 2 arms holding the flute. Ramachandra holding bow and arrow. Lord Chaitanya holding danda and kamandalu. Sadbhuj form. In Chaitanya Charitamrita it says that Lord Chaitanya showed his form of Radha Krishna. But he revealed to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya that he was the personality of Godhead, not just a sannyasi, as he had understood intuitively, but now it's confirmed. Because Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was the chief priest of the king, he told the king, "Guess what? In your kingdom, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is paying a visit. And not only is he paying a visit, but he wants to make this his residence." Many other things happened. But the king had a keen desire to have the audience personal, face-to-face interaction with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I mean, that's nice if you want to see Krishna. Not just get liberation, but see Krishna and interact with Krishna. In this case, it's Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I'm going to read a little bit, but what happened was Lord Chaitanya said no. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya requested. Lord Chaitanya said no. The king is a worldly person. He has to deal with pounds, shillings, and pence. And I'm a sannyasi. I'm not going to have any dealings with somebody like that. No. And then a few other attempts were made. the king was very distressed. So he went to Ramananda Roy, who previously was governor of Chennai, then it was Madras. And he then, Ramananda Roy, migrated. He gave up his post as governor. Wasn't just like mayor of a city. He was a governor of the whole state. He gave up his position so he could be with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The king went to Ramananda Roy. See what you can do. Persuade him. You're very close to him. Ramananda Roy made the suggestion. Lord Chaitanya said, look, you leave me alone or I'm leaving Puri. We'll leave you alone. Then a suggestion was made. You won't be with it was Swarup Damodar, another intimate associate. You won't meet with the king, but you can meet with the son, as the son is representative of the king. So he met with his son. And Lord Chaitanya embraced his son. The son swooned in ecstasy. When the king embraced his son, he swooned in ecstasy. Like, electricity transmitted. But he still wasn't going to meet with the king. And the king was very distressed. And then at Rath Yatra time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya made a plan. King Prataparudra, I have a suggestion. What's that? You want to meet with Lord Chaitanya? Yes. My suggestion is, during the Rath Yatra, he dances and dances and dances and dances and dances and dances and dances at such ecstasy. Halfway through the parade, the cart stops, and you get elephants to pull the cart won't move, Jagannath won't move. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, goes to the garden nearby, Jagannath Balab Garden, and you go there not in your royal attire, but go in just regular conventional clothes and recite some verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll train you how to sing the verses. And while he's resting, you sing those verses. You sing those verses, and he'll experience awakeness and happiness, and he'll embrace you. So that's what happened. But that was the day of Rath Yatra. The day before Rath Yatra, the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his thousands of associates was to prepare Vrindavan, to bring Krishna from Dwarka to Vrindavan, to bring Krishna from the Jagannath temple to Gundicha temple, from Dwarka to Vrindavan, on the cart, the same cart that was described in Skanda Purana, the cart that the gopis had prepared, the resident, not just gopis, the resident of Vrindavan had prepared to bring Krishna back to Vrindavan. That's Rath Yatra. Now I'm going to read a little bit and show you some pictures. This is chapter 12, the foreword, Prabhupada's words. In his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur summarizes this chapter as follows. The king of Orissa, Maharaj Prataparudra, tried his best to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Nityananda Prabhu and the other devotees informed the Lord about the king's desire. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not agree to see him. At that time, Sri Nityananda Prabhu devised a plan, and he sent a piece of the Lord's outward garment to the king. the king received the garment, understanding he's getting the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. It's just a garment, but it's not just a garment. The next day, Ramananda Roy again entreated Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to see the king. The Lord denied the request. Asked Ramananda Roy to bring the king's son before him. The prince visited the Lord dressed like a Vaishnav, and this awakened remembrance of Krishna because he was young and dark complexioned. Thus, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered the son of King Pratap Rudra. He embraced him. After this paragraph, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu washed the Gundicha temple before the Rath Yatra took place, which was the following day. He then, so it doesn't give a detailed description in the chapter summary, but the chapter gives lots of detail. Here's some nice BBT painting. Thousands and thousands, this painting doesn't show thousands and thousands, of followers went with him with brooms and clay pots. And they went to a nearby lake, Narendra Sarovar, and made a human chain and filled up the clay pots with water, saying the holy name and passing the pot to the next person who chanted the holy name, and to the next person. And they, then the empty pots went back, and they just kept passing clay pots filled with water, and to place water throughout the entire temple, and throwing the water up on the ceiling, throwing the water on the walls, throwing the water here and there. Everyone was completely soaked. And the painting shows there's one clever fellow at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who poured water on his foot and then drank the water from his foot. And when he drank the water from his foot, he went into ecstasy, verifying for everyone's satisfaction it's not an ordinary foot. Foot water from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not ordinary. And it was very intense. Here's another nice BBT painting. It shows up on the walls, they had cloths. There were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of persons, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally was on the altar where the deities were going to be placed once they reached the temple. This is the BBT artwork. This is a darker version of the same. I don't know how they tinted it differently, but that's a different look. Here's a close-up showing that there's cloth that they're soaking with water and giving clean fresh cloth to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they had the description is they had ladders. They were cleaning the chandeliers and the ceiling, and everything. Everything was totally cleansed. And after it was totally cleansed, let's do it again. The way it's described, it was so much water, it was like an ocean of water poured out from the temple, so that all the dust and everything was completely cleansed, making it suitable for and very inviting for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come. So I'm going to continue reading. He then took his bath at Indradumna Lake. Oh, phooey. Something happened. My computer just went kablooey. I don't know what to do. Not respond. Oh, there. The mouse disappeared. just disappeared. Okay. He then took his bath in Indumna Lake and partook of prasadam in the garden nearby. While Chaitanya Mahaprabhu washed the temple at Gundicha, a Gaudiya Vaishnav washed the lotus feet of the Lord and drank the water. This incident is very significant, for it woke within the devotee ecstatic love. Then the son of Advaita Prabhu, named Gopal, fainted during kirtan, and when he did not come to his senses, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu favored him by awakening him. There was also some humorous talk between Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu during prasadam. This is after they played in the water like this. There's Nityananda in the front. That's Nityananda splashing water on Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya or Advaitacharya. So Advaita Prabhu said that Nityananda Prabhu was unknown to anyone, and thus it was not the duty of a householder Brahmana to accept dinner with a person of unknown in society. Meaning, the unspoken part, the hidden part, is Nityananda is beyond any consideration of varna or ashram. He's a person of ecstatic love of God position, and he doesn't fit into any category of human society. So your status in human society is unknown, and it's unfit to have a meal with you. Nityananda replied that Advaitacharya was a monist, and that one could not know how his mind could be turned by eating with such an impersonalist. Now, his name is Advaita, which means non-dual. Now, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, or followers of Lord Chaitanya, of which Advaita Acharya was one, is not a monist. He's a devotee who sees there's nothing aside from. So there's a lengthy description in Chaitanya Charitamrita of what was the hidden message in what Nityananda said and what Advaita Acharya said. The hidden message of what Nityananda said is, you're so much absorbed in the Supreme Personality of Godhead that you don't see anything aside from the Personality of Godhead. For you, there's only the Personality of Godhead. So, but he's labeling him as an impersonalist, and I don't want to be caught having a meal with an impersonalist. The conversation of these two Prabhus, Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu, carried a deep meaning that only an intelligent man can understand. After all the Vaishnavas finished their luncheon, Sarup Damodar and others took their prasad within the room. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took great pleasure when he saw the Jagannath deity after the period of the deity's retirement. At that time, Lord Chaitanya was accompanied by all the devotees, and all of them were very pleased. So that marks the end of the day. They went back to see the deity in the temple before the closing of the deity door in anticipation of the next day's Rath Yatra. So in Puri tomorrow, And in many places in India, tomorrow is Rath Yatra Day. Now, all over ISKCON, I understand you had your Rath Yatra, yes? Yeah? How did it go? Where was it? Well attended? So. Huh? 1,000 devotees. Nice. When was it? Last weekend? Before. Oh, okay, June 8th. Okay. Yesterday, Sunday. Let me. Sunday, there was Chicago Rath Yatra. Sunday was the New Jersey Rath Yatra. And I think it was also the Detroit Rath Yatra, same day. So there's a lot of Rath Yatras going on around. Sometime in April, I was visiting in Alachua, and they were already making announcements for their 7 Rath Yatras. That's their the biggest activity that they have for reaching the Western population. Because Florida has beaches, so they have Rath Yatras at the beaches, and because it's an annual event, and it's already Florida, so it's already hot any time of the year. So they just have it a little bit earlier, and people really like it. The devotees really like it, and they have a traveling Rath Yatra cart that goes here and goes there, and all up and down the coast of Florida, this beach and that beach and the other place, and have 7 Rath Yatras. So Jagannath is becoming known as the Lord of the universe. And of course, in Florida, there are some Indian families, but it's largely not Indian families. But they're becoming attached to Lord Jagannath. It's really easy to get attached to Lord Jagannath. Doesn't matter your background. It's a celebrated event, but the significance behind it, people most often don't understand, which is okay. But the transcendental mood is certainly understood by Lord Chaitanya, and not only understood, but he was immersed. He was bringing, because his mother had asked him to remain in Puri, so he was bringing Jagannath to Vrindavan from Dwarka, or from Puri to Vrindavan. The Lord of the universe, the opulent feature to the sweet feature, the Madhurya. So there he stays for 7 days, and at the end of 8 days, and at the end of the 8th day, he comes back to the temple in a big procession, a big festival. Must be wild in Puri during those 8 days. People having whatever festivals and kirtan and everything. And bathing in the sea because it's really hot. Yeah. So because tomorrow, not today, tomorrow is Gundicha Marijana, but there's 2 other holidays tomorrow. Disappearance Day of Gadadhar Pandit, Disappearance Day of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Gundicha Marijana Festival. So I decided this evening would speak on the Gundicha Festival. Tomorrow, Krishna doesn't necessarily, some of us may not exist tomorrow, but there's a plan. The plan is, tomorrow is the very day in China for the disappearance day of Gadadhar Pandit, which is our Wednesday evening is their Thursday morning. So their Thursday morning is the appearance day of Gadadhar Pandit. So we'll be observing Gadadhar Pandit's disappearance day on his disappearance day, and for them it's one day later. So it works out. And so forth. There's a number of disappearance days of our great acharyas, so we'll be honoring them one by one by one. Not all on the same day that they actually disappeared, but we'll do it close. And the ones we miss, because they're duplicates, we'll cover their disappearance. So tomorrow, disappearance day of Gadadhar Pandit. Nice topic. And if you can make it, you can make it. It's going to be broadcast on their Zoom channel. When you tune in, you'll be surprised. Because if you're sitting here with us, or whatever the home is, you'll just see what's on the screen. But if you delete what's on the screen, or screen share stops, you'll see the number of people that are participating. And the number of people that participate on this Thursday morning class is around 350, 360 people. And they don't know Gadadhar. They know, the Panchatattva, but they don't know the details about his life. So they'll hear some of those details. And they ask very interesting questions, you'll see. When it's dedicated for them tomorrow. English, Chinese, English, Chinese, English, Chinese. And questions, same thing. Okay. Any discussion on the Gundicha Marijana pastime?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. First, I want to say some appreciation for describing starting from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sannyas all the way up to Gundicha Marijana and Ratha Yatra. That flow was that very, very sweet to hear, those pastimes. And the other one I have was, externally it may sound like it's a very simple, like a service cleaning the temple, but it has so much, Mahaprabhu has so much, given so much instructions to all the devotees in that pastime, along with bringing the mood for Ratha Yatra. So I was appreciating that, Guru Maharaj.
He carried them to Vrindavan by his mood. They were his followers, and it was easy for them to follow his mood. But his mood was transcendently profound, and they became carried to the same mood while they were cleansing, because we can cleanse. Go ahead.
Maharaj, my question is, I never been to Puri, Jagannath Puri, so it's a curiosity question. After they leave, after like 7 days or 8 days stay in the Gundicha temple, does the temple stay open? Is there any permanent deities reside there?
Yeah, there's festival deities.
But temple stays open then?
Yeah. That's my understanding. Yes? Yes.
No, even the Gundicha temple. There is Jagannath deities then. Utsav deities.
A little sharing. I remember very clearly the opening of the Krishna Balaram temple. And the mood was the same as the Gundicha temple. For days we were hearing the Gundicha pastime, and then for a few days in anticipation of the temple opening, the devotees were cleaning the altar to make way for the deities, Krishna, Balaram, Radha Sundar, etc., to appear. And then the temple, we did the same thing. There was buckets. There weren't hoses. And there were some hoses that filled the buckets. We didn't have to go to Indradumna Sarovar. There was just hoses, and they're filling up these. What was it? It was plastic buckets, and we threw them on the wall, and threw them on the ceiling, and there was water. Everyone was completely soaked, and chanting loudly. Everyone there wasn't a kirtan because it was too wet. It was just singing loudly. The whole room for like hours was just the holy name and splashing water all over the place. And the system, they weren't using mops. They were using what they call in Vrindavan at least as squeegees, like a board with a handle and a piece of rubber at the bottom of the board, and run it up and down and run up and down and shoo the water towards the central depression area of the temple, and then there's drain system within by design. So when there's the rainy season, the water accumulates, but it eventually subsides because there's drainage in that central area. Water everywhere, everyone completely soaked, completely blissful, and remembering Lord Chaitanya and his Gundicha cleansing, temple cleansing. Really nice. Very nice. Really nice. But what to speak of the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with him in the mood of bringing Krishna to Vrindavan. There we were in Vrindavan, bringing Krishna Balaram to the temple in Vrindavan. It was ecstatic, transcendentally ecstatic. Anything else?
You described how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya connived with...
Maharaj, it's an online question.
I got it, but I'm having a hard time hearing her.
You described how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya connived with King Prataparudra so that the king would get the Lord's mercy during his dancing during the Rath Yatra and while he rested in the Jagannath Vallabha gardens thereafter.
Yes.
Since the Lord has recently arrived in Puri, I am assuming that this was his first Rath Yatra. So how was it that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya predicted what Lord Chaitanya would do and hence connived with the king?
Well, it doesn't say it was his first Rath Yatra. I mean, interesting question, but it doesn't. There's an assumption. I don't know if the assumption is correct. By logic, it wasn't his first Rath Yatra because he knew what he had done at other Rath Yatras. But nice try. Anything else? Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, you mentioned that Sachi Mata, she was very devastated after
Poor
after
mother.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to leave, took sannyas and decided to leave. And you mentioned that he had 16 years old.
6 children that died shortly after birth.
And I'm not sure if I heard it right. You mentioned that Mahaprabhu had 16 years old daughter.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Wife. He was 24, and he had a wife. She was 16.
Got it. I heard it wrong. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I heard in one of
lectures. I don't remember the detail. Gundicha name is King Indradyumna's wife's name. But I have not seen it in the Chaitanya Charitamrita mentioning, but I was just wondering if you also heard something like that.
My memory is not so good. So I can't verify yes or no. It sounds right, but I can't verify. We can look it up later. You look it up later.
I can look it up also.
Yeah.
My second question is, you mentioned that the mood of going, the Rath Yatra is like the mood of going from Dwarka to Vrindavan.
No, bringing Krishna from
Jagannath,
Hastinapur, from Kurukshetra.
From Kurukshetra to Vrindavan back.
Yes.
I can understand Krishna and Balaram being brought back to Vrindavan because they belong in Vrindavan and they went away. And how do you understand Subhadra Maharani also?
She was his sister.
But in that mood, she's never been a part of Vrindavan, right? So
okay, she can be in Vrindavan, that's okay.
I was just wondering if there is a deeper meaning to that or not.
There's probably a deeper meaning. But the deepest of the deep meanings is Krishna is eternally in Vrindavan. He performs pastimes, but the Braja Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. That scene, the scene. The scene is when Krishna wants to take bath on their way to Mathura. So Krishna stops the chariot. Krishna and Balaram get off the chariot and go take their bath. And then Krishna wants to take his bath. He takes their permission, and he goes and he sees there they are. And then they transform into Ananta Shesh and Vishnu. And then back again, Krishna Balaram. So then he understands. So Krishna stays and the expansion of Krishna goes. That's the inner meaning. Now, back to your question, what about Subhadra? She's Yogamaya. So the feature of Yogamaya belongs in Vrindavan too. But she can manifest different features depending upon the service for Krishna and Balaram. No problem. Anybody else? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki Gaur Premanandi.
Hare Krishna. So I want to welcome Maharaj to St. Louis on behalf of all the ISKCON St.